Hi.
Hi.
My name is Sam, I'm French.
My name is Sharka, I'm Czech.
And we have two kids, Tom, who's 4, and Elliot,
who is 2.
And we're behind the curve.
Hi, my name is Tom. My name is Elliot.
So Sam,
Yep.
what's behind the curve?
Behind the curve is a couple of things. It's the idea of slow traveling. We have a rough road, but we don't want to stick to a strict plan. We know that we started in Canada, we know that we're heading south, but we don't plan every day or every week of the trip. The other thing is the idea of this trip started when we both felt that it was kind of the highway of life. Everything was going straight and we had a very clear idea of where we'd be in 2 years, 5 years, and taking a mortgage and doing the usual things. So we wanted to kind of shake it up a bit and not have a straight line, but instead having curves in life. So the idea of behind the curve is to do this trip, to trust life, because we really believe that life is good, people are good, and the world is a great place to be explored. And we wanted to travel every day and ask ourselves every day 100 times what's behind this curve and be amazed by what's behind the curve. The last thing is, as I said, the slow traveling. We have no intentions to be ahead of the curve, but just stay behind and enjoy the scenery ahead of us.
How do we travel?
That's a great question, Sharka. So we bought this Volkswagen van. It's a California model, 2.5 liters diesel, and we had it shipped from Europe to Canada.
So why did we have to ship the car?
We thought it'd be a good idea to buy the car in Europe so that we know what we're buying and there's no stress to rush and make a decision quickly when we arrive. And the good thing is then we had time back then where we lived to prepare it, and thanks to the great help of Sharka's family, we could really make sure that it's ready before we go. The other thing is traveling with kids, we didn't know what to expect and how they would react, so we thought it'd be a good idea if at least they know the vehicle, where they sleep and where they live most of the time. Given that their life every day is different, everything's changing, so at least there's one thing they knew from before that is not changing.
That's a good point. Actually now they call it a home.
Yeah, they really, I mean, when you ask them where is home, they say it's Orca, that's the name of the van. Sharka, question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you sure that going on a 10-month road trip is a good idea with kids?
I don't know. I know. It's a great idea.
Why that?
They got to discover a lot of things. We spent a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
And every day is different. It's not the same.
I think it's definitely great. The idea of, I mean, it's great. It's great to work, but you have little time for kids, and we spend every hour of the day with them, and it's great. It's really bonding with them. So it's a great experience. Is it challenging?
It is challenging.
What a question,
It is
Sam.
not just a piece of cake. It is challenging.
Stop!
Oh my God.
Nama tanking! Movie time!
No super.
Because our camper van would arrive 10 days after we landed in Halifax, we rented a car to explore the region. We booked the cheapest model and asked for a free upgrade when we went to pick it up, and they gave us a Jeep Compass instead. Worth trying! We fell in love with Nova Scotia from the first day. The landscapes, but more importantly the people, made us feel at ease from the first day. Like Brian, he offered us to go on a kayak tour to discover the surroundings, and eventually offered us to stay at his place for one night, which was great for the kids, but we enjoyed it a lot. Elliot, tu montes sur le lit? We drove up to Cap Breton, but we had very little time because we got news that Orca was already in the harbour waiting for us. Getting Orca back meant that we could have a lot more freedom. We wouldn't need to pay for hotels, we could cook wherever we wanted and sleep wherever we wanted. That was the key to freedom for us. Because Orca had some technical issues the very day we intended to leave home in Europe, It meant that our trip was postponed by 10 days. With this in mind, we had to travel south and cross the border with the US as soon as possible. Either way, the cold would catch up on us earlier than expected.
That's one of the moments that I personally like, is the morning when you wake up, when you found a nice spot where to park for the night, where you sleep. So we found this great parking lot here. It was completely empty when we arrived yesterday, but as you can see, what's really nice is that there's a lighthouse, and right behind me there's the sea. Now this is the typical morning.
Okay. I didn't know that you would do that.
So that's our little routine every morning. So Shaka's finding a way to make everything fit. As you can see, we've got this storage place here, and I don't know how Shaka does that, but everything fits, whatever we buy.
Back home, there was a picture of New York City in our dinner room that Tom used to look at. I promised him that I would take him there one day, and I'm glad I could deliver on this promise.
Dinosaurs are back.
We found a free parking spot north of the 74th Street and the 5th Avenue, and it was great because it's just at the corner of Central Park, which is an amazing place for kids, so they can run freely and they can enjoy all the playgrounds. Times Square is a special place with the big screens that really impressed our kids, and they really enjoyed watching the performers there.
In a big city like New York, with these two, just one option: the chains.
Next, we headed to the High Line, which is an old rail track that is going from the Meatpacking District to South Manhattan. It's amazing because you can walk a couple of meters above the streets and observe all the buildings around you and the traffic down there. A visit of New York City is not complete unless you walk across Brooklyn Bridge, taking you from Manhattan to Brooklyn.
New York City remains one of our favorite cities, but it was time to move on to a more quiet and greener place.
Coucou les Mimi.
We then stopped at Cape May, which is less than a day driving distance from New York. It was great for the kids, who really enjoyed the sceneries and seeing the sea again.
Regarde les poils de raccoon.
C'est pas pour ça.
We spent the next couple of days on the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is a scenic road taking you from Virginia to the Carolinas. It offers amazing views and wildlife we don't see often in Europe.
What? Five. Hi. Five, c'est bien, let's go.
The further south we went, the worse the weather got, so we decided at some point to exit the Blue Ridge Parkway and stop at a place where we knew the kids would have a good time.
Allez, monte, Mimi. C'est bien le coup!
Discovering about the Hurricane Florence that was coming our way, we decided to go west towards Tennessee, but this is for another time.